I got you there.
Okay. So the things that I think I need to focus most on my class is a lot of the classroom management, timing, and dealing with students that just have different needs. Because I have 30 kids in one class, and like I think 13 of them or 17 of them are boys. So I feel it's a bit of a challenge for me to control them or to like get them to even respond to the classroom management skills. The worries that I have are, like, really specific students, which I feel you have that with, like, every class. There's always a kid in every class that you just don't know how they're gonna react. And I have never recorded in that class before either, so it's gonna be a new thing for them. Um, I worry about the sound quality as well because I've seen some other people's, like, videos, and some of the quality is really terrible. And I have no idea how to edit, but it's something that I can look at. The methods, and what I'm excited for is to try new methods and learning activities, and to make a learning plan for students that need it because I have one student in particularly that he does need like a learning plan, but the school at the moment, they're still in the early stages. He's been diagnosed with severe ADHD, and so the school know what's going on. He's seeing a specialist, but they haven't put anything in place for him as of yet. It's a K2 kindergarten class, so middle class. So they're still like they're not great at sitting still.
Yeah, understandable at that age. Just the suggestions that I had there in the corner. Um, for video recording, Film Force and Panda Compressor, what I used, I had no issues using an Android phone with any audio quality. I think I am it can depend on the size of your classroom and where you place the phone.
Mm.
And then I saw you already kind of addressed this in your lesson plan, but just consider seating arrangement and grouping strategies, and it can be a matter of like uh, seeing what works week to week and making small adjustments just to get those kids who may have trouble focusing, may have trouble sitting down, to get them in the right group and in the right environment where they're more comfortable with that.
Mhm. I think
And
you're right. Because right now I have them sat, like, in a square, they have, like, tables on the outside, and I have 3 students, the one that is, like he's the one that needs the lesson like, he needs the learning plan, and then I have one on the end, he's not got ADHD, but he's being, like, tested for it, and the other boy, he's a nice kid, but he's just really active, and I think having them 3 just in that side of the classroom is just too much for me. It's too
yeah,
much chaos on one side.
yeah, you might want to like split them up, put them with one of the more calm kids, one of the more kids who focuses better, and then they'll have kind of an example to follow, and not to have somebody else who might kind of trigger them into more outbursts.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the lesson plan. Okay. Is a phonics decoding lesson. Um, so this is something that right now, this level, they really need to learn the CVC short I and short U for the whole year, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but for these kids, it is quite a lot because this is like they've only been in kindergarten, they've only been learning English for like 9 months. So they didn't do a small class, they didn't do K1 with English, and then they really struggle to write. They don't really have any writing ability either. So there's a few things that they're struggling with, but it is very normal within the school for them to be at that level. Um,
Hmm.
so the standards that I'm addressing in the lesson are the standards from the school um, bilingual standards testing. So they have to match phonics to correspond with letters. They have to understand simple classroom everyday language, determine the name of initial sounds, letters, and words, able to identify 26 letters of the English alphabet, and start using basic phonics rules to sound out CVC words. So right now, the students really struggling with b, and d. I think it's not the sounds that they're struggling with, it's literally seeing the letters, which is a struggle.
Hmm.
So that's also something that they're struggling with because they're trying to learn like the CVC words, but actually they still, because they didn't do a K1 English class, they don't know the alphabet as well as maybe another type of school that teaches the alphabet with extended vocabulary. They don't really have that. Um, so this unit, they have to learn short I, and wrote to become 80% fluent in reading short CVCI words in text. Um, I think the school would prefer for that 80% to be more like 97%, but just knowing, like, how the kids are and how the curriculum is, I think it's gonna be more about of a 80% of the students will be able to get it, and the other 20% are either too young to be in the class, or they have some learning difficulties that they're struggling with. So the objectives that I wrote, this one I found quite difficult to write because, so I, it was mainly like I feel like I just say the same thing over and over again in my SMART goals. So I've got that they have to be able to decode short I and recognize the letters. To measure this, it needs to be done by the module assessment. So the end of year will be like earlier than this. The end of year will be earlier than May, but they will keep going through the module till May 15th.
Okay.
And to achieve this, I've just said like practicing sounds of the alphabet and blending them together. And we
Yeah,
put
I do think guided practice for phonics is very, very important. And just same with the B and D problem, just consistent, regular working on it, and the kids it will slowly like become more natural to them to tell them apart.
yeah, because they just struggle so much with that at the moment. To be to be realistic, I've said that they'll be able to blend about 80% of the words that they come across. So for me, that means they will be able to read the actual phonics reader because I think that's appropriate for them. It only deals with short I. There's only short I words and high frequency words. There's no other CVC words in there. So I think they can definitely get that book done, but then it's like recognizing other short I words, which I think will be more challenging for them. So I'm gonna use like phonics worksheets and activities to get them to just notice that it's not just this book, it's all the words with short I.
Yeah.
And then for timing, we do 30 minutes every day until the end of the module. That's what I have scheduled is 30 minutes every day for the rest of the semester. However, we have performances coming up, so that 30 minutes could turn into 15, um, which is not ideal, but it's the new semester, they have graduation coming up, and even though our performance is very short and not very big, it's still something that we need to practice until the end of March. So the end of March, they'll finish that. They'll do it for like Mother's Day, and then
Mhm.
we can get back on, try to get that 30 minutes back in. For student diversity, so I've just put the number that they are in the class. I've not named who they are, just
Mhm.
because I know the number of the student and I know their names, and I don't want to also like give their names out and be like, oh, this guy.
Yeah.
Um, So student number 2, he lacks focus. He needs to move around the space. So I'll draw like instructions on the whiteboard for him and I'll give him classroom duties like a little teacher. So he can pass out books, pencils, erasers, whatever we need. For this,
Yeah, I do think it's better to accommodate that type of a need rather than try to like stamp it out or stop it entirely. Like to accommodate and let him have his movement in the classroom.
yeah, because he doesn't, it's not even that he needs to be like up and doing something. He just needs to not be around. Like he just can't sit down. So that's all it is. He just needs to stand up. Um, for student 8, he's the student that needs the learning plan. Um, so at the moment, I am in contact with his parents about the learning plan, and I give them a report every day about his activities. And he struggles collaborating in environments. He lacks focus. He struggles with emotional outbursts. He's hitting and fighting, but it's not intentionally like to be mean to others. He just really cannot control any of his body. So I think what I will try is I will try to get him to work in a smaller group of students that work well. However, even that's gonna be a struggle for him. Like he cannot work with anyone really. At this point, he cannot. but that's what we're going to try and get him to do. I'm going to give him a physical list, like picture instructions, and give him like a timeout space where he can calm down if he needs to, like a reading corner. These things will be available to him. However, getting him to do anything is a challenge if it's not lying on the floor screaming.
I do think it's important that you don't frame things like a calm down corner. Don't frame it as a punishment, like you're being
Mm.
sent here. Like this is an option. This is to help. This is to help you rather than this is to punish you. And
Yeah,
make sure things like the
more like,
physical list that's there as a support rather than as a punishment.
yeah, because you can really see with his behavior, it's just like he cannot control it. He just once he gets like it's like a switch, and once that switch turns on, like his physical body gets out of control. Like he just can't help it. And he's not a bad boy. He's not like intentionally hurting people. Like people get hurt because his arms and his legs are going everywhere, but he's not doing it on purpose. And he's hard to persuade, because he's just like, no, that's not how things work. Here's some other students. They don't really have massive problems. Student 9, he struggles to pronounce words, which I have told the school and I've contacted the parents about. I think he does have a lisp. However, the school and the parents right now, we're just saying that he's still young. He might grow out of it. So they're not looking at getting him like a speech therapy therapist yet, but it's something that we'll talk about once he goes to K3 big class. So yeah, he just has a lisp. It's not a big thing, but like he can't really get the ending of sounds, and like vowels are difficult, so CVC words are really troublesome for him. So I'll give him like specific instructions like how to move the mouth, and group him with students that have strong speaking skills. And then for student 18, she struggles to comprehend and needs kinesthetic environment. I really do believe that she maybe has like I'm not a doctor, but she has very strong symptoms of, well, they look like symptoms of dyslexia. So
I
like
think it's important to bring those concerns also with the school.
yeah, so I
Although
think
it could be a little early to diagnose something like dyslexia, but it's something to keep an eye on and make sure you're talking with whoever in your school has like control over that.
because she does seem to, it's like the linking of information. Like she can get information through to her, but it's like linking that information to other things. Like she will understand like vowels, but then doesn't understand a CVC word. So I just wrote like tactile materials for her right now. And I'll just probably contact the school a bit more about that and try to see how she does. For formative assessments, we have so the phonics reading book. So basically what I'll do is I send home each week for the homework. Like they have to read 3 pages. So they read that like 3 pages each week up until April 15th to the 19th. And I hope that they'll be able to read that independently by then, which I think is achievable. And to read a list of short I words with verbal decoding, because some of the kids, they're not verbally decoding right now, they're just saying the word. So I need to work on that. And they have their summative assessment the same week, April 15th. So I'm hoping to get it all wrapped up, so then when the summative assessment comes, it's all in the bag. Questions. I just wrote like, what letter is this? And tried to get through all of the letters. What sound is this? And can you decode this for me? I didn't really know what other questions I can ask, really.
To make that more open-ended, one thing you could do is ask the students like, what short I words do you know? And then you'll get a good feel for if the students can recognize other words that they've learned that have a short I sound in it.
Okay, I'll put that one in too. And then the big ideas. So the big ideas, I
think the big idea you're trying to get across for phonics lessons is that English, that words are made up of phonemes and that we can make new words or even make words we've already heard by putting these phonemes together.
So words made up of phonemes, and then we can make words from them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I will write that in more of a bigger sentence than that later, I guess. Okay, and then my lesson is basically just going to be, so I'm going to go through some short I words with them. The warm-up activity, I'm going to have some cups on the table and a ping pong ball, some letters, and then each letter they throw the ball. This is a game, probably, I think it's your game from an open house, where they have to say the letter and then they throw the ball and it catches in the cup. So it'll be throw the ball, and then it ends up in the cup. Just to get them like single-handedly like to get through them letters.
Yeah, it activates their prior knowledge of the alphabet of phonics.
And then after that, I've got a PowerPoint, so I'm going to try and elicit some of the short I words that we've got. So on my PowerPoint, I've got like the letter comes up individually and then it comes up as a full word after so it's like 3 or 4 slides. So I'll elicit information from the kids about that. And then after that, I'll put like a CVC worksheet on their table, which they can read together or they can read in small groups. And then they're going to use these alphabet magnets from each table. And then they're going to spell out the words on the paper. So if they can already do that, to make it like a more extended activity, I will just tell them like, think of more short I words, like the question that you had earlier. What short I words do you know?
I think it's a great combination of like digital tools, but also tactile things. There's parts where they're focused on you, and there's parts where they're working together. And there's a really nice mix of elements in that lesson plan.
And then at the end, they will read the phonics reader together and just circle some of the CVC words. But it won't be in their book. It'll be just on the book that I have. Just because then if I was thinking maybe it could be an extended activity for homework, that they could try to circle them by themselves. That way I know if they really understood the lesson. For discussion questions, yeah, so before the class, we've already done some phonics worksheets. So you know them ones where you like cut out the picture and you stick it on? We've done them. We've done 2 of them so far, and I have a few more of them also prepared, ready. We'll use videos from Class Dojo. So I get the videos every week. And then it's just so I can see how they read at home as well. Some of the parents don't read with them, like they just say the word, they don't decode the word. So it's where I can like write comments about things like that. And we'll use games from Word Wall to encourage confident reading speed. So the kids, they really like that one with the train. So I'll probably use that one, the game with the train. For the 21st century knowledge skills, they have problem solving, communication, collaboration. I think they probably have a lot more, but I just I didn't want to make it too long. Yeah. So they're solving tasks, putting the letters together, working in groups, repeating this lesson in different grouping, working together. Okay. So this lesson will just help students decode in a physical sense by moving the letters. And then teaching strategies. So ideas of letters and sounds and how they come together. We're using the paper cups to do that. Practicing together through decoding. Then we'll read in small groups, and then we'll use the CVC charts. They can try to explore by themselves. And then we'll go back to the material that they have to finish for their formative assessment. So teacher-student input. I found this one a little bit like I didn't really know what to write. So I just wrote, for me, I'm going to explain the activity and the rules. What they do is they make words together. And then, well, what we do together, we make words in the warm-up activity. And then they make their own words in the group activity.
Yeah, I think for the I do it, also part of it will be at first you'll probably demo it. You'll demo the activity by yourself.
Okay. Okay. Okay, and then for review, I can use the word games that I will have used in class. I can send them home.
Mm-hmm.
I could send the short iPhonics list home. A lot of this stuff, like I just use Class Dojo as that's the main communication for communication books, and the parents, they always respond. So I send a lot of digital resources home. We'll use a lot of decoding techniques in class. And after class, they make videos of themselves reading at home.
Mm-hmm. You could also make a word wall of CBC short I words,
Yeah. Oh,
just something physical represented in the classroom as well.
yeah. Okay, I'll do that then. Um, Okay, and then my reference is this lesson plan is just made up from like everything